Hi, Tracy here with an update on the Pixma Pro 100 printer that I've been talking about and sharing and gushing over since I received it. I guess it was yesterday. It seems like forever ago. Anyhow, I have some more prints that I printed under different conditions and with different kinds of paper. I've received a lot of questions. If you have any questions, if you want to see how this printer performs in any kind of conditions, if I have the paper, I'm happy to try it out and show it to you guys and also show how it compares. So feel free to leave requests, and if I have the items in my stash, I will go ahead and give it a try. I do plan to buy some of the canvas that you can get for this printer and show you how that looks, but I probably won't be doing that right away. So that's kind of a down the line type of thing that I'll show you. So in my review video, if you didn't see it, I showed these Canon papers that I had bought for it, and I also showed a Kodak, like just an old piece of regular photo printer paper that actually didn't do so well with this printer. So these are the papers that I have for this printer. I have the matte photo paper in two different sizes, in the 13 by 11 and in the 8.5 by 11. And then I have this sample pack that came with the printer of this luster paper. Oh my gosh, I'm in love with this stuff. It is freaking unbelievable. So anyhow, I love this and am going to buy more because I'm like a luster junkie now. Just so that you can have a sense, if you didn't see that video, but these are what the prints look like. They're absolutely stunning. These both are on luster paper, and then these two are actually on that lower quality matte photo paper. And even the lower quality paper is really, really beautiful. Really great quality. This is the luster on top, and then this lower one is the matte photo paper. So if you want to see those, I know I just kind of swept through those really quickly. If you want to see them in more detail, check out my review video. It is quite lengthy, but it talks about all of the features of the printer and shows quite detailed comparison of the different types of paper that I just showed you. So this matte photo paper in the larger size, so I'm holding this just because it's easier because it's smaller, but in the larger size, I printed this. And I do have a process video about this, so you can check that out if you're interested. But I just wanted to show you how beautiful this low quality, I mean, this stuff is very inexpensive. This is $11 a pack for 50 sheets of 8.5 by 11. And then for the very large, for the 13 by 19, it's $24 a pack, which is, and there's 20 sheets in that pack. And that, for that size of paper, that is quite a good deal. And I'm so happy with the quality. So I just cut it down to 12 by 12, and oh, I love it. And it is a really flat finish, which isn't what everybody's looking for in a photo printer, but I personally love this. I used to have a photo printer before I got my PictureMate Charm, my little 4x6 printer. And I used to print on this kind of paper all the time because I really love how it looks, especially for a background paper like this. It's just stunning. And I like that it's not at all shiny. Anyhow, this is what it looks like. Just look at the detail of the, and this is not even a very high quality picture. These pictures, my sister sent me the like the digital sharing resolution of these photos, and she was going to send me the high-res ones in a separate email, but I never did get the separate email, so I just printed these up because this is what I had. And even in not high-res quality, it's just absolutely gorgeous with this printer. So check out this process video if you want to see how it came together. So what I want to talk about today is a couple of things. So first of all, I got a question from a couple of different people about how the Pixma compares to the PictureMate Charm. So I do have the PictureMate Charm, and I will continue to use the PictureMate Charm for my 4x6 photos because I'm going to show you how great the quality is, and it's much less costly to print that way. So this top one is, let me just check and make sure I'm right. This top one is the PictureMate Charm on the paper that's designed to go in the PictureMate Charm. It is vibrant. I'll show it up close. It's crisp, it's vibrant, it's lovely. It looks like it came from a photo development lab. This is the Pixma Pro 100 on the paper from the PictureMate Charm. So this is not the paper that was designed to go in this printer, but I thought it would be really convenient because I almost always have 1 or 2 sheets left over of this when the ink cartridge runs out. So I thought it would be convenient to be able to run it through my bigger printer just to use up the paper if I wanted to, right? So I decided to just give it a try. And it, you know, if you're only looking at this picture, it looks gorgeous and lovely and fine, but when you put it next to the other one, it does look a bit more faded. Not a lot, but you can especially see it if you compare these light spaces. This one is more vibrant than this one. I'm going to zoom in just a tiny bit more. So, and I'll just mostly compare these two. So this one is a tiny bit brighter than this one, and the blacks in this one, like the really dark places, are darker and richer than this. So this one has a slightly washed out look to it compared to that, but by itself it looks excellent. It has beautiful quality. Now, the bottom one is the Pixma, I didn't write on it, but it's the Pixma Pro 100, and it is printed on the paper that's designed to go in that printer. So that would be the luster paper. I just cut it down to 4x6 so that I could compare it. And you'll notice that the top and the bottom are pretty much indistinguishable. Like I cannot tell here in real life, looking at this one and looking at this one. Certainly they both look more vibrant than the center one, and if I took the center one out, they really do look very comparable, pretty much identical. So I just wanted to show you that when both printers are being used with the paper that's designed to go in them, both printers will perform very, very well. However, the PictureMate Charm prints for quite a bit less per print. So this is the 4x6 printer that I will be using. I won't be using my Pixma for 4x6 shots just because it's overkill, and I'd rather save my ink for the larger pictures. So if you were trying to decide between the Epson PictureMate Charm and which is this one right here, and the Pixma Pro 100, which is these two right here, really this one is the one that we'd be comparing, I would say, first of all, they're very different printers. You know, certainly the price point for the Epson PictureMate Charm is quite a bit lower, and your cost per print is quite a bit lower, and the quality is excellent, is matched. So unless if you have a burning desire to have large format prints, more than 5x7, because the new Epson PictureMate does print up to 5x7, so it prints a little bit bigger than the one that I have. So unless if you have a burning desire to print prints that are larger than 5x7, I would say just go ahead and get the Epson PictureMate Charm, because it is such a wonderful printer. It's such a workhorse. However, if you really want a large format printer, this printer is definitely worthwhile. I mean, once you go large format, you're automatically taking quite a step up in terms of price range compared to these small printers like the Epson PictureMate Charm. So you're just paying a lot more just for the format, but also there is, the ink is more expensive, the paper's more expensive, and so you want to think about if you want that, then, and you're willing to pay that much more per print, then this is a great printer to have. I think in an ideal world, and of course, we all want all of the things, or many of us want all of the things. I personally like having them both. I will use my Epson PictureMate Charm for anything 4x6 or smaller, and I will reserve this only for my larger job. So I personally would not want to have this large format printer if I didn't already have a cheaper means of printing my 4x6 and smaller photos. So for me, I'm glad that I got this one. I had this one for several years, and now I'm adding this into the mix. I wouldn't want to choose either or, and I think that if I had to choose either or, I would choose the Epson PictureMate Charm for the reasons that I just said. So that's just my own opinion. That's not to say that someone is wrong to, you know, say that they'd rather have this than the other one. I think that you just have to think about what you're willing to pay and what you're looking for in a printer. So I wanted to show you that comparison right off the bat because I did receive some questions about it. So that's that. And now I was thinking about what else I could print on. So my first idea was that it might be fun to print on to watercolor paper. Just because I'm using watercolor paper all the time these days, I've got lots of stacks of it, and so I thought maybe I could get a nice artistic look by printing with my large format printer onto 4x6, onto watercolor paper. However, because I was just experimenting, I didn't want to do a large print. I didn't want to waste the ink or the watercolor paper just in case it didn't turn out very well. So I cut this down to, I think, 5x7. Yeah. So I cut this down to 5x7 and printed it this exact same photo as this. I just cropped it a little bit differently and ran it through on watercolor paper. And it looks like... so these specs are things that I've added afterwards. So it looks like this, except just ignore the fact that there are specs on it. So it looks very kind of vintage and textured. You can see the fibers of the paper, especially in the dark parts, and it's very artsy looking. I quite like it. It is a nice application for the printer. And then it got me thinking, I wonder, because it's on watercolor paper, of course, I wonder if I could watercolor over the image, like kind of put green in the field and put blue on his jeans and just kind of, you know, go all artsy on it. Well, I tried that with my koi watercolors, and I think that this would happen with anything that you added with that had water. Basically, I left this to dry for several hours because I thought I had a feeling that it would lift the ink, and I just wanted to give the ink lots of a chance to cure. I mean, I guess I could wait a day or two and it might make a difference, but I really doubt it. So what happened was I just started in this little corner, and I took my water brush and some green watercolor here, and I just painted it there, and I'll show you what happens. So what happens is it kind of loosens the ink, and it gets all inky and gross and not very nice. So I'm just going to take a piece of paper towel to clean that up. And then I noticed that when I dot it with the paper towel, you get this kind of really interesting vintage looking. It kind of lifts off the blue part and black parts and leaves you with this brown, yellowy undercolor here. And I thought that looked really kind of cool. So what I did was I took I'm going to have to move all these things so I don't get sprinkles on it. So what I did was I took my watercolor brush, and I got it clear, and then I just flicked it like that, and then I took my paper towel and I just drew, and now I have this very artsy looking distressed print, and I think that would look really cool on an art journal page. Very cool. And so that just lifts the color, but it leaves behind this brown residue. It's really nice. And you can actually, it does still leave some of the details of the print behind as well. So that's a fun look to play with this printer. Then I was thinking, what else do we scrapbookers have on hand that we might want to print onto? So this was a piece of 12 by 12 white American Crafts cardstock. You can recognize this. We've all got lots of this laying around, if not American Crafts. some textured cardstock. And so I thought, I wonder what it would look like. I have printed on textured white cardstock before to get a bit of an artsy, washed out look on my photos. And I really like the texture that it adds. See his face. I especially love to use this technique on a large portrait where the face is the majority of the print. I just think it's very pretty. It's a very pretty look. It almost gives the, it looks like a faux canvas. Not quite as textured as canvas would be, but very similar. And of course, I'm not going to expect it to print as well on cardstock, on, you know, inexpensive regular cardstock as it does on nice photo paper, but it, you know, it is nice to know that you could print on this if you wanted to, since we scrapbookers tend to have a lot of white cardstock on hand. And this is how it looks compared to it printed on luster paper. So another really fun option for the Pixma PictureMate Charm. So just getting back to the matte photo paper by Canon, this I'm wanting to figure out ways to make good use of this because it's so inexpensive. I would rather, as much as I love the look of the luster, I'm working on ways that I can use this stuff because it's so inexpensive, and it makes such a beautiful print for the price that definitely not as nice as the luster paper, but for the price I'm willing to figure out a way to work with this. So I thought I would practice some mixed media techniques on it here. It took clear gesso really well, and then it did stand up. It warped a little bit on the part that has some paint and other media on it. There's gelatos, there's ink, and there's paint on this little tiny section. There's lots of media concentrated there, so it did get a little bit wobbly, but it held up well. This is quite thin paper, but it held up quite well, and I think that's thanks to the gesso. I don't think it would have held up well at all without the gesso. So I will continue to experiment with particularly this paper because its price is conducive to experimenting, and I will just keep you posted as I go along. So thanks so much for watching, and have a really great scrappy week.